Hey, what's going on YouTube? Gary here, gzduel, here to bring you guys a duel, and I'm using a new deck, the Incarnate Dragon Elemental Dragon deck, and I'm here to tell you guys that these guys are broken. This archetype is just unfair and unhealthy for the Yu-Gi-Oh game in general. It's amazing what you can do in the first turn. So for example, my opponent is playing some macro stun deck. It's supposed to be good against my deck, but unfortunately I drew into Heavy Storm, so the macro becomes basically invalid. And I drew into a blaster, so I'm using the baby dragon to ditch a Incarnate Dragon or just special summon Incarnate Dragon from the deck. After that, I can banish the 2 dragons that I just sent to the graveyard for the blaster, and then I can even get a plus from the redox that I banished. And then I overlaid the 2 for Dracosack and use Dracosack's effect to get 2 tokens, and I tribute over the 2 tokens with LADD, Light and Darkness Dragon. And at the end of it all, I have a 2,800 attack beater, a 2,600 attack beater, and my LADD could just keep negating my opponent's effects. This is just a lot of advantage for no reason, and this is why the Incarnate Dragon deck is basically broken. And this series, well, this duel, specifically this duel, and I think this will be the only duel in which I showcase the brokenness of this deck, because other than that, I find that it's really boring. You win after winning so many times with this deck. Even in the beginning where I didn't have a clue what I was doing, I just did whatever made sense to me. It was almost impossible to lose, because even if you had Incarnate Dragons in a graveyard, you can banish dragons in order to special summon them, go for Big Eye, go for Dracosack. You can get rid of problem cards with Dracosack. You can even take control of problem monsters that your opponent controls. It's just so hard to lose with this deck. The only thing I see is if you play against Mirror Match, then it requires a little bit of skill, because you need to anticipate what your opponent's doing. But other than that, really, once you have a LADD negating everything your opponent can do, it's not much your opponent can play that get out of it, especially when you go first too. And I went second this turn, but I drew into a Heavy Storm, so broken. So I guess the whole thing that I want to do with this segment with me playing Incarnate Dragons or Elemental Dragons is to show you guys some of the times in which, you know, what my opponent could have done in order to like slow down my combo, or maybe like sometimes they play or side in really problem cards that I can't deal with. Then it'll be like revealing the weaknesses of the deck rather than showing you guys the brokenness of this deck, because everybody knows this deck is broken. Everyone wants to know, how do we deal with the brokenness? So yeah, that's what I'm basically trying to do with this deck. I'm debating whether or not to show you guys a deck profile. I've just been recently playing with it, so it might take a bit of time. I'm mainly into it to show you guys how other people can play against me. And yeah, unfortunately recently in Dev Pro, not many people want to play against Incarnate Dragons. I've had duels where, you know, they just surrender on me like this. So hopefully I can get more duels like this in, and this is Gary gzduel signing out.